everybody, my name is Sarah Devlin and welcome to this episode of our Pride Month Marathon for 2018. So today we're going to be talking about our first nonfiction book. This is Wonder Woman Unbound, The Curious History of the World's Most Famous Heroine by Tim Hanley. Hanley, I think. And if that title and this cover make you think kinky, well, you're not wrong. So this book, like I said, was written by Tim Hanley. It was published in 2014, and it is a nonfiction book about Wonder Woman. And you might be wondering, pun not intended, why or what this has anything to do with Pride. Some of you might know that Wonder Woman is a queer character. She was announced as canon queer by her current creators in this current, era. And I'm pretty sure there's no proof of it in this book, I don't think. No explicit proof. But I'm pretty sure her original creator intended her to be queer. So this book is not only about Wonder Woman the character, but it is also about her creator, William Moulton Marston. Marston was a bisexual man living in the 1940s, which was when he created Wonder Woman in an unconventional polyamorous relationship with two women, with Elizabeth Holloway Marston and Olive Byrne. And after Mr. Marston died, his two wives continued to live together for the rest of their lives. They were very much a unit. It wasn't anything illicit. They were all together consentingly, and it was definitely a very queer polyamorous relationship, which, like I said, in the 40s was definitely unconventional to say the least. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this book's about. It's quite a thick book. It has a nice selection of pictures in it to show different covers, and not just Wonder Woman covers. There's some concept art, not just for the comics. Excuse me. Let's see here. We have some covers, if I could just find them. I think they're towards there. That show other publications that Wonder Woman's been in, like the Ms. magazine and the Sister magazine. So things like that, which I think is really great because it gives you some illustrations in this otherwise very text-heavy book. It is broken up by the eras of comics. So you have the Gold Age, the Silver Age, and the Bronze Age, which I believe is considered the modern age. My knowledge of comics is a little bit sketchy, but yeah. So that's how it's broken up, and it also goes through Marston's life. They do mention that he's also known for creating the polygraph, the lie detector, which I think is really cool. Not really related, but I think it's cool. He was a very smart man. He had lots of degrees. He was, I think, also a doctor and a scientist. He was a very feminist man, way ahead of his time. He felt that women should have an equal part in society. He felt like they'd actually be better fitted to ruling or governing than men. And that's talked about a lot in this book. It also talks about the prevalence of bondage imagery in this book, going down to, the number of times in a comic it is shown somebody being tied up. I mean, he gave Wonder Woman a lasso for a reason. It wasn't just to get everybody to tell the truth, which is, if you think about it, probably something that came from the idea of a polygraph. Telling the truth because, you have a machine strapped to you because you're wrapped up with a lasso. Interesting, huh? Like I said, Wonder Woman is a canonically queer character in the modern comics that her creators did announce that I believe last year. I think that she's bisexual. I think they use that terminology. I know they definitely said she's attracted to women. So that is, I think, one reason why it's important to know the history of this character, because she is, at least at this point, canonically queer. Although I think you could argue that coming from an island of all women, of all the Amazons, and all of that, you could argue she's always been queer, even if not explicitly. I think that's important to have that sort of information about these characters back from their inception to now. And I also think it's important because of the sexuality and, the sexuality of her initial creator, Mr. Marston, being bisexual and polyamorous, especially in the 40s. Not a lot of that is recorded, at least not in easily accessible ways. There are definitely ways you can find that out about people, but it definitely wasn't something that people were necessarily being public about because it was such a such a dangerous thing to talk about at the time because of the way people might react to it. So I think it's important to have that sort of history. He was an artist, a scientist, a creator, an author, and I think it's important that we acknowledge this man and his contributions to our pop culture and as part of our queer history. So yeah, I was really excited to be able to have a nonfiction book to share with you guys. So this book isn't necessarily directly queer, but I feel like since the creator of her is queer and they mention it and they talk about his lifestyle and his wives, I think that it's important that we talk about this book and about her creator, Mr. Marston. There is also, if you're interested, there is a movie about Mr. Marston, about Wonder Woman's creator and his wives. I forget the name of it. I can try and look it up and put it in the links down below. If I can find it, I'll let you know. But that's it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this book. I read it when I went to the beach a couple summers ago. It is a bit of a long read. I'd say it's something you might want to take your time with. Don't feel like you need to just devour it, although I kind of ran out of steam towards the end because it's just so full of information. So it's something you want to take your time with, but it's definitely worth a read and it's very interesting. So I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you in a couple days. Bye!